Believe it or not, we are live. Hello, Marco. How are you doing? He's first. Marco wins. Let me put these. It's kind of hard to see, huh? But this is kind of a new gift that I got myself. That actually Valeria got me. It's full of candies that I can't really eat, but I think I'll keep it here. All right, so I'm glad that you're doing fine. There's still pretty much nobody around, so I thought I would start anyway, but 6:30 is about as, weird for people who have to work as it can get. So I was patching stuff in, so we're gonna wait for people to get in, because what I want to do is I want to patch, and I have already done it, my 33609, and I actually want to patch the distressors as well, because we kind of had it going, this discussion about the distressors and other stuff. So it's it's a weird camera angle because it's kind of fisheye its way, but it's kind of easy to see. So we don't really need to look at the compressors, but they're nice. So I want to patch the 33609 and the distressors in a way that I can control them by engaging or bypassing the dangerous master, because it's gonna be much easier to do kind of like comparisons of what they do, and I can bypass them right here from my desk. You can see it. Even in the other camera, you cannot see it. I was almost done doing that. I think it should work. And we should try probably the 33609, which should be on insert 1. But I need 4 more bantams to plug in the distressors, which are, for some reason, plugged to weird stuff. I have leftovers of patches from. So I don't know. I don't do experiments anymore. Everything's kind of not hardwired, but kind of there. And for some reason, I find connections that I'm like, when did I do this? So let me just get right. The on-air logo has to be on. Hold on. So bantams first. Let's do that. Number 1. These guys. All right. Gotcha. Then we need 4 more bantams. 2 more bantams. Let's go to green. Consistency. All right. We're gonna do consistency. See the greens. These are Mogami bantams. If you're keeping score, these are mini quad microphone cable Mogami part 2893. To me, these are the best bantams you can buy, probably. I mean, I haven't tried all of them, but the quad mic stuff is great. I have Summer, I have Klotz, I have Mogami, I have Cordial. I have Gotham, I have different brands and stuff. But let's do the connections. Let's see where we are. I'll move you around just so you see the spaghetti incident. And I'll be off microphone, but that's good because it's a stream and we're chilling. Look at my fan of the computer here. Look at that beautiful, what is it? The rear intake fan? Man. Cool, huh? Look at that. Look at my computer. So you can see OBS over there. I'm getting leaked. All right. So, also, believe it or not, the tape you see here, this one, the tape says JV1080 out LR, and it's as old as somebody almost getting their driving license. The gaff tape I've used to type that is the worst decision you can ever take in your life, because it will drip, sort of like it will drip sticky substance forever. That part of the cable will never be able to be as it was. So Mogami, Vovox, and Gotham are made in Switzerland, I have noticed. Vovox for sure. for sure, near Lucerne. I've been there twice by Jurg. Great guy, great company, great place, everything. Lots of fun. I've actually spent a New Year's Eve in Lucerne as well with Valeria and the guy from Dangerous Music. We had a super awesome time on the boat, eating and going around. Everybody was super well dressed. We were super casual, the four of us. And it's like people are like with the mustache, like, what is he doing? Anyway, so are Mogami and Gotham also made in Switzerland? I don't recall. I thought Mogami was made. I have a friend in Japan who has Mogami made in Japan. I am pretty sure, but I don't know the year. Anyway, so we got Apache distressors that are here. Distressors in. All right. Let's not make the mistake of going left, right, which has to go insert 2 out, which is right here. And then we do the right, which is over here. And then we do the distressor out, which is this one, that will go in here and then out here. All right, so how many people do you know who have the gear that I have that not only don't brag about it, but kind of hates to use it? You won't find a better individual. Okay, so we've got our stuff. We got our multi-camera. In the multi-camera version, you get 2 Albertos, 1 DAW, and 1 GoPro camera just for kicks. Because this is about context, right? All right. So I'm going to press play. And we are going to just try and hear if things are working. I know they are because you can't really see the Dangerous Master. Marco knows that I have one. It's for real. He saw it in videos. It's right here. But you see, like I can't, I touched this one. You just don't see. But we'll hear it, or at least in the full camera version, you'll see that the 609 will move the meters, or the distressors will light up. Okay, but right now we got to do a dry run, cold, no inserts, just the drums for kicks, which is pun intended. I understand, just for kicks, but the whole drums, not just the kick. And let's hear if this works. I'm gonna drop my inputs and outputs on the master just because, and we gotta set it up for. Oh, it's already set up. Okay, so we gotta rename this Dangerous Master, just because things are happening. And now I'm gonna press play, and we gotta hear it. I wonder what kind of level you're getting. -12. I'm thinking it's too low. I'm thinking. We did -12 the other day, the other streams, and in my opinion, it was like, James, I didn't get a notification. Am I not at the right Patreon level? I don't know. It's a very shady Patreon, the one I run. No, you are at the right level. I mean, there's no levels for notifications. Oh wait, maybe you have to re-add yourself to the live news feed, which I have no idea how it was done, to be honest with you. I have no idea. There is a way though, with a bot or something, like get up there's a channel you use for signing you up. Maybe for reasons we all know, you're no longer in live news. You got a notification it was on content update. Yeah, it uses a user group, and if you're a busy person and kind of have sometimes things to do in your life, you might not always be on the live news channel for some reason. Did you just enter James, or did you kind of see where nothing really happened? I just went around, plugged some stuff in, took a look at the. Let me see the camera. All right. I have 8% battery on the GoPro. I hope it's not gonna die, but it's feeding from the. It's on webcam mode, so it should kind of work. Just fire up YouTube and install the live. Right. All right. No. Nothing really happened. It's all good. What we're doing is I'm patching the 33609 and the distressors just because, we're probably going to try them. We have this huge fisheye thing. We don't care about the settings or stuff, just looking at gear in general. And I was telling Marco, you will never find a guy who's got the gear I have. It's not a lot, but the most important feature of mine is that not only don't I brag about it, but I'm kind of bothered to use it. I really deserve, I don't know, some kind of, well, I don't want to say hell because it's for other reasons I will go there, but maybe. Anyway, I'm patching the 33609. I hate that you can't see me when I talk. So I'm patching the 33609 and I want to patch the distressors, okay? But I don't want to go on the back and just unplug the compressors to use a common stereo pair or use two stereo pairs because believe it or not, at the moment, I don't have any free stereo pair. I only have one pair of outputs, one pair of inputs. But the way I use this is that I go out to my dangerous master, which it can then go to the liaison as well. And so it opens up a world of routing within two pairs of my audio card. Okay. So we're going out for this test from the Aurora 11 and 12, getting into the dangerous master. We're using gear that is patched to the dangerous master, and we're coming back to Aurora 1.2. So we're converting through the Aurora converters, but they're the same converters pair, okay? So what matters is that when I switch from the 33609 to, say, the distressors, just for kicks, because we were talking about distressors, and I thought it would be nice to kind of use them, they will be on the same converters pair, will not change, not even channels, okay? So it's exactly the same card, exactly the same pair. The beautiful thing is that I can press, if it works, button, switch 1 or switch 2, and I can do it from here. You can't really see it because it's like right here under the camera, but I can do that, And actually, you know what? This is kind of stupid because I should move my camera so that you can see the dangerous master, which we can do like this. Boom. Look at that. Right. Can you? Little bit. All right. Not really the best, but sorta. Okay. Let's do this. Does it work? Yeah. All right. I mean, where else do you have a stream like this? Isn't it worth 3 watchers? Absolutely yes. Anyway, so you see here, 1, 2. I cannot do it looking at the camera. 3. Okay, and you can actually hear it. We hear it because it's straight into the path of what we're doing. So very important here, we gotta make sure that we can hear stuff first and foremost without the one of them is Ethan. Yeah, so it's 3 watchers, 1 bot. Absolutely. I'm gonna press play. This is a song. This is a session I was opening that I got from a student maybe a week ago, 3 or 4 days ago, and it's a Dark Ride Dead Enemies. I think this track was available on Cambridge Multitracks or maybe Telefunken tracks or something, and this student of mine is trying to mix it because it's kind of a hard rock kind of metal song, but I said metal, so it's 1 watcher now, Ethan. But anyway, it's a fantastic track to test what we're gonna test. Trust me. So I didn't do anything else. I just recalled that session because I'm super, super lazy. The middle camera has got candlelight vibes, and that's because the anti-flicker doesn't work. You can select all you want. It will keep frame rating at multiples of 15 or 30, which doesn't work for 50 hertz Europe. But I also thought that is kind of nice for a secondary camera. If I told you those are not LEDs, Christmas lights, but they are like candles. Look at that. Maybe I could do it in post, but it's kind of nice, right? And I got the colors to be, it's a nice camera, the Logitech, the C920, but it needs a little bit of tweaking and it can get poetic, sort of. So that's nice. So we got control over my face, beautiful, we need that. The Amiga, beautiful, we need that. Today is kind of a Settlers vibe. I thought it was, October, it reminds me of when I was playing the Settlers game, the Settlers here. And it's just doing the intro and music stuff, but we can't hear it, luckily. So, Gear, Dangerous Master, Alberto, and then the DAW, obviously, unfortunately, a little bit smaller, but we will switch things. So, let's do a listening test, just the drums. The drums here go through the Dangerous Master, and we'll come back. But right now, I have the inputs here and the outputs to both -5s. So I have a -10 total just because I don't know what's gonna happen, but mostly it should be just quieter. So if you heard it pan left and right, it was because I was kind of trimming, the things in opposite ways. And so it was kind of left, right, left, heavy, and that stuff. It works. So we're going to go back to 0. Now, actually, no, I'm going to keep the output in -5 because I want to see if the 33609 works. Let's switch over maybe while it's going to the full GoPro so you see the meters are going and you realize it's not actually one of those shady pretending to be online gear available. It's really analog. Okay, so it works, all right? And it sounds like nothing on earth in digital will ever touch it. I'm just telling you here. I'm here sitting in my room and I'm like, it's just so good. And I don't like the 33609. Imagine I liked it for some reason. No, I do like it, but it's kind of weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the green button here. This one that says bypass in. And this is where philosophy kicks in, because bypass in to some people looks like, if it's a guitarist, that thing looks like it's in bypass because the bypass is in. So bypass engaged. Does it make sense to you? It's actually not that case because it's a 2 LED positions button. So you will notice that when I push it, and you heard the click, that plugins don't really, they do give it to you. It goes to the yellow and that thing is now in bypass, okay? The second one you see below is the not enough caffeine. It's the mono to stereo switch, okay? So in stereo mode, the detector sums it up and then decides which kind of compression is going to happen on both channels. While in dual mono, which is what we're going to use, it's going to react independently left and right, okay? So conveniently, the culture vulture being above is actually not leaving it any space. So the 33609 is currently just pushed in there. My plan was to move Edward below to another rack that I have now free and make room for the culture vulture to breathe against the 33609, because I guarantee you they're both very hot. While Edward's red, but it's not really hot. It's just It's also off right now. Should we turn it on? Should we turn it on? Oh, yeah. The vibe. Life, man. I've been watching too many gamers, streamers. So, we keep it that way. We know how it is, but I'm going to bypass it, not from the dangerous, which you see has its green light in. I'm going to bypass it from the 33609. Okay, so we know for sure that's what's happening. Now, what I love about this compressor on a drum bus, which I have never kind of used this way, but I gotta give it to it. It's just it's a sound and it works. What it does is that it places the drum kit into a very narrow degree of depth in the sound stage. And if you're used to mixing, you should kind of be able to hear it even in solo. What is going to happen when guitars and bass are being dropped? The drum kit is now no longer moving that much, it's just staying in there. And it's a very narrow window of depth. It can go like from 25% to 40% in the back, and it's staying there. So it gives you an extremely consistent rhythm section. That is one of the reasons that this thing is just legend. It's set on 1.5 to 1. Let's take a look. I have to read from here. It's set to at 1.5 to 1. It's threshold -4, so it's 12 o'clock straight. I don't remember the calibration. I think it's -20 dB FS. Zero threshold. I don't really remember, but that's kind of there. And all right, be right back. James is gonna be right back. Toilet break. And the recovery time is the fastest, which is a very common, very liked setting. And then we have the gain at +4. The gain is stepped on the 33609s. I think they're all the same. They go in increments of 2 dBs. And this is kind of a nuisance sometimes, but it doesn't matter, you know. And I think that what happens here is that, is this right? Yeah. All right. It looked a little bit off, but it's really 2 clicks for each of the output gains. We are compressing more than 4 dBs of gain reduction, and I'm compensating 4, yet the kit sounds thicker and sounds a tad louder. I would say like a dB and like 1.2 dBs of loudness, that it feels as if the volume fader was up. I guarantee you there is no switch in anything. Actually, we're going output -5 just because I wasn't sure. Okay, so that is not the only sound we are gonna take from the 33609, but I want to also set the British mode on the distressors, because this is a great chance for us to spend a Friday night testing gear that I have and I never want to use. How cool is that? But also to compare the elusive British mode that the distressors have. Okay, we're gonna use our hook on the 33609 to realize what is happening in the British mode of the distressors. So let me make sure that the distressors are patched into the masters the right way, because I talk too much and I make mistakes this way. So let's do this. I'm gonna turn this guy off and I'm gonna go 2, and now we are going to hear if the distressors are moving at all. Now the thing is, since I'm not sure where they're set, I'm just gonna start low on the output of the distressors. I first want to hear if there's sound coming through. All right, I patched it right. It's insane. It happened. But now we're gonna go and set it up while the drums are playing, okay? and I'm gonna explain the settings in 2 seconds. Okay, so it's getting very hard to kind of hear what is happening. I don't even know if from the frame rate of the video recording, you can see how fast the LEDs light up on the gain reduction meter and how many of them are lighting up at the same time. So we're sometimes looking at like instantaneous 10 dBs of gain reduction, and it just lets go as fast as the LEDs can light up. It's insane. Yet, sound-wise, right, it's not doing that much. Now, we're going to do a comparison between this guy and the 33609, and I'm just going to do it because, as you can see here, 2 is the Distressors and 1 is the 33609. So by the beauty and the power given to me by analog devices, I can push these 2 buttons with 2 fingers, and that will go 2 or 1, right? It's insane, right? You can do A/B so beautifully on analog, right? So, hey Christian, hello. Hello. So, we're doing a comparison, 33609 versus the Distressors. No, Teal's not already up. We started with the boring stuff. You know how it is. Yeah, you didn't miss anything. So, 2 is the Distressors, 1 is the 33609. I have to understand whether or not the output is on the ballpark for the Distressors, and then I'll just go there and retouch it. I'm just gonna press play. So the 33609 is louder, and as I said, it's got increments of output gain of 2 dBs per step. So we're getting more than 4 dBs of gain reduction through the meters of the 33609, but it sounds like we're actually getting less compression, or it sounds louder anyway. So again, meters are one thing, just hear how it does. So we gotta step it up. I'm gonna go to 6 in the output. Okay. Hi, Nix. Nix Corsair S1 says, how about lending Kiive Audio or Edward the compressor for them to model in software? I'd love to. Because that will get me rich and powerful and influential on the masses. And this can probably take the world to its final step before collapsing. So I'd be down. There's not many Edwards out there. You know, this one comes from Electric Lady. This one is a spare thing. Alberto building empires. Absolutely. And hold on. There's a huge subliminal message here, which is my amiga behind is playing the settlers. So I don't know if you're familiar with that game, but it's about building your empire for real in a fantasy medieval stage. So you said this would have been Michael's. He never used it, actually, but it stayed there for a spare. And then during, I think, a gear sale or something, a friend of mine who had worked there, was actually worked there until that very year, said like they're selling some of the gear. And do you want to get it? So I'd love to say Michael's used it. That'd be awesome, but he didn't. So, but these things weren't expensive, right? So I'm thinking I know for sure that Michael had spares of rocks around the world somewhere. So, maybe it was gonna be built for something like whatever, MTWM, whatever, all the huge master classes it was doing for real. I think I bought this in 2014, 15? No. I should look it up, but so he bought it. I did a, PayPal to my friend. He bought it, and then he got the money back basically from me, and then he sent it from New York to my place in Italy, because at the time I was, living in Italy. So it's there. It's the Edward, and I just got it because I knew it was the best D thing that Brouwer had done. I like his mixes for how grainy, nice, they are. And I said, like, why not? So. And so we were saying the distressors are a little bit louder. No, actually quieter than the 33609. So we got to step it up a notch. And then we'll discuss whether or not we want to push it more, because the LEDs lighting up on the distressors really aren't telling me much. It's just like, I don't even know if you can see them, but I've tried to put them again in sort of a Brouwer version of the British mode, which he made famous, like, high pass on the detector, sometimes the also high frequency emphasis, distortion 2 if I'm not mistaken, the image link, I think that is how what is happening, but not the detector link. I'm not entirely sure. And then British mode obviously on. Attacks and releases, as Michael has said many times, many occasions, are a matter of also finding a little bit of a sweet spot in how you're pushing it. So if you're moving the inputs, you're going to make the attack react differently. Distressors are super hard. And I know he does know it very well, because he's been friend with Dave since forever. And I don't even know if the British mode is something from Michael Brouwer's suggestions, because, Michael's been that kind of guy of like saying, could you do me a mod here and there? And people are like, all right, I've tried doing that sometimes, just suggesting features at the NAMM show. Like, it would be awesome if when people are like, and that's the only reaction I get. But they're very polite. I gotta give you that. So let's do that. Let's go 1-2 and make the distressors up to par with the 33609, because with the stepped output gain, I cannot make the 33609 step down effectively. All right, you gotta give it to me that now they are very close sometimes. I'm actually worried of like, is there anything happening at all? But yeah, it is happening. So trust me. Now, what have I done here? I've done the 10-1, which again is not like, I don't want to say, we're just, shredding off my whole settings or anything, but it's kind of a cool thing when it's a bit more aggressive, the song. 10 to 1 is kind of nice, but I usually never go 10 to 1, unless it's opto mode or it's a single vocal track that I really have to just nail down. I'm more of a 4 to 1 kind of guy, sometimes 3, sometimes 6. That's pretty much, I think, probably what I've used the most. So attack 4 or almost 4, release almost 3, and then we got what? Okay, a little bit of an image thing. 6.5 output with 3 on the input in this case, and that's okay. So we don't know how much compression we're getting because the LEDs just light up frantically and just nothing happens. But now what we can do is we can say, okay. These drums are kind of nice, in my opinion, to test what is going on here. So you see this device that I have. This is the Master Round Trip, the Dangerous Master Round Trip, that's what I mean. And what we can do here is we can put a 609 fresh and hot demo, start trial. I already started it. In fact, I've made this thing humongously big because it's very hard to see some of the little switches thing. So, okay. So, can I make this even bigger? Of course I can, but is this gonna be beneficial to world domination? Maybe. Ooh, 160, 170. All right. I think this is where we want it. Right? And I can do, I think I can do this. Right, so you still have a glimpse on my gear and what is happening here, okay? So number one thing, if you have never used the 33609, this is not an AMS Neve 609 as far as I understand. I could be wrong, but I'm obviously not. No, I mean, it's an Audioscape Engineering Co. collaboration with Kiive Audio, okay? So Audioscape Engineering makes, I've never seen one, but I've read it on their website. They make a 33609 interpretation or clone, because the original is by Neve, and of the 33609. I have no idea how this thing sounds for real. And this is going to be now sarcastic. The closest thing I have to test it against is a real AMS Neve 33609. And there should be like comedy, whoa, voices underneath, effects, right? So I can't really do a comparison against the original because I don't have the original. I have the original, but this should be okay, okay? So while testing it today, we realized, we didn't realize, the first discussion that we had on Discord is there's a limit stage and there's a compression stage. Okay, and again, I have no idea how the Audioscape is, so I've never seen one outside or inside. But on the real thing, the limit and compress stages are not as you would think they are. Some people believe that this thing compresses first and then limits. Other people think that it limits first and then compresses. And I was under the idea of the latter kind of opinion. So there's a favor of the detector being into the limit stage before it goes into compression. I am not entirely wrong, although we should really talk to somebody who knows AMS Neve's original designs, and I know there's a couple people that are very internet friendly that know a lot about these. And I am not entirely wrong in saying that the limiter stage comes first, but it's wrong. There's actually a sort of a parallel distribution in the detector circuit of current that goes to the limiter detection, to the limiter behavior, and the compressor behavior. And then gain reduction is calculated by considering all things together. And it's insane, and it's a testament to how cool this stuff is, for sure. However, being the limiter, kind of a more aggressive type of compression, because that's what it is, it's not a brick wall, by all means, you might end up probably offsetting the behavior to a feeling of compressing later a limited stage, okay? So having a limiter do something first, acts job action, and then into the compressor, just because of how things are. In reality, however, if I were to say that it limits first and then it compresses, like two different plugins or units, it is wrong. I've read it for as much as I can understand electrical engineering. I've seen the schematics, the studies. It is really practically one thing together, which is a testament to how amazing this thing is. I have never used the limiter before. I mean, I've used it on the real thing, but I never use it. I am interested in replicating the settings I have here, right? These dudes here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just dial in the same settings straight up. We don't care. We don't do anything about that. We just go, what's the settings of on my real 33609? Well, we got the threshold at 4. We got the recovery at fastest. We don't have the switch that says fast, slow, stock, but we keep it on stock. That's probably where it should be. We move the gain to 4 because our steps are in steps of 2 and we did it 2 clicks, so it's 4. And the ratio of 1.5. The limiter is disengaged. This thing doesn't exist. There's only fast and slow. There's not super fast. So that's a new thing that this clone has. There's no quad or stereo. It's actually dual mono or stereo, but we are in dual mono. So it needs to be here. Not quad, but dual mono. Compressor in, of course. Bypass disengaged, which means engage. This is a huge power switch. This is very like science fiction like. I think we're pretty much set. There's no HPF set. I cannot set it on mine. It's what it is. And so it's, off. And the beauty of this compressor is really how they tuned the attack. Why does the 33609 sound good? And why do people have a hard time emulating it? Because it's a very, 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 very variable type of compression feel from the moment it decides to say, now I compress, to the moment it actually reaches the compression that is on the tin. It's almost never the compression on the tin, but that's why it sounds good. Okay, so oversampling, I'll go 2 times because why not? THD 0 with 100%. The linking of the controls, yes, I want, but I want to stay in dual mono. I'm going to press play and disable the dangerous compressor, like bypass the dangerous, because we don't want that together. And that's pretty much it. So let me go to 1 on the dangerous, that master, so that we have the 33609 set. And I'm going to press play and we hear the 609 here, the plugin. Okay, sounds good. Does it sound the same? No, it's not. I mean, we already heard it, but let's do a comparison of the Kiive real one and the plugin. I'm gonna start from the plugin, and then when you see me going here, this little power button, that's a bypass, and then I'm gonna engage the master as fast as I can. So yes, we are gonna get the converters in as well, but it's negligible. Trust me, it's about the sound. So I know YouTube, lossy algorithm, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know all that. It's much better to do these tests and not do them, especially if done this way. So let's go. Plugin first, then hardware. So right now it's not fair because the plugin is not compressing the same amount as our hardware unit, the actual hardware is doing. And I can see that from the meters of my unit and the plugin, that we are at sort of like a 4 to 8 movement, and here on the plugin we only have kind of a 4, right? So I'm gonna drop it to 8 and just keep it there. Calibration is a matter of plugin makers and stuff. It's obvious that it's not gonna be the same thing. In fact, it was louder, the plugin, and that means we're not compressing as much. We're overcompensating compared to what we're compressing, so we need to compress more to get to the Kiive. I'm not gonna touch the hardware. I wanna put the plugin in a position to, just kick the hardware in the nuts if it can. Let's try that. It sounds nice, for sure, but it's very permissive. The real unit doesn't let you do that much, so we have to drop it down even further. I moved it from 4 to 8. It's still not compressing to past 4 on the meter. Now, this could mean nothing, of course, because we gotta use our ears. I hear it not clinching, I want to have that kegel kind of compression sound. Does it make sense? That's enough. Let's try that again. Now, this is it. Is it a difference in headroom, says James? It's definitely a difference in where it is calibrated. And it's just numbers. Once a developer, we're getting into philosophy of emulating plugins, and there's people who want to keep it one-to-one realistic, people who don't want to do it. Now, what is happening here? The hardware compresses more at the same position of the pretending knob, right? So I put the threshold to full 12 o'clock. The plugin is compressing less than the hardware. This is common. It's rare to see the opposite. It's common that the plugin isn't compressing as much because in digital audio, R0 is usually a lot higher. If you make a plugin that has the threshold of the analog gear, 90% of the time, your customers are gonna complain or have issues just because of how louder they are and how they're gonna think like, whoa, this thing is crashing the mix. And that's because they're very loud compared to the original, So it's okay, we're doing that 4, 8, 12. So we're now, what is it? 8 dBs more going down in threshold to meet the actual sound. And I can hear it that this thing's getting close. I start hearing that micro popping transient. That is, I think it's got a 2.6, 3.3, 3.6 attack time in milliseconds. I don't really remember what's the attack on a 33609. And yet again, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be variable. It's not like, SSL kind of style, which is not even 100% feeling that way. That's the beauty of it. So, but it's getting there. So let's try again. You hear it? This is good. Okay, let's try the hardware. You hear that? But it's lower in volume. So how do we do this? Well, I'm gonna take the output and I'm just gonna go up because right now I'm at -5 on the master. And you can see it here. This big knob here is at -5. So I'm gonna go back up at 0. I think it's gonna be too loud. So let me do 2 or 1.5. Again, we do a comparison. We do plugin versus hardware, because if we don't match the gains, we're off for sure. It's gonna sound different. So I'm gonna start from the compressor, the hardware into the plugin. All right. So now we got, I think we got it. My chair, man. What is this? All right. Contact Sound Library. Alberto Rizzo Schettino's chair. Available Q1 2025. This is going to be the thing that makes your production just step up. It's a seat changer. This is a seat changer. Available in 96 kilohertz, 32-bit floating point libraries, and but the catch is you gotta go buy it physical. I would want you to go and buy it and go to the computer store and says, "Excuse me, dear sir, do you have that contact library?" All right, so we're close, man. This is close. However, now we're left with you can't really complain because it's just the hardware is just giving it. But it's a very nice sound. But now we know that I have to stay half a dB on the master to have kind of the same gain here. But it's kind of sounding. Also, when I'm retaining the master, don't worry about the sound. It's transparent, so it's not at the -5 output. It's just underloading the dangerous master. It's not meant to have a sound in any way or anything like that. So, sounds good. And that 1.5 is one of my favorite ratios for sure. So we're gonna do another test again, listening test. I'm gonna start from the plugin, going back to the dangerous. I think they got it pretty close. Honestly, it's, I have nothing to do with Kiive, with Eddie. I've spent emails with him. It's very nice. We talked about plugins and stuff. We know each other from emails, but I get nothing if you buy it or not. I don't care, and I'm not going to buy these plugins or any other plugin just because I have so many and I have the hardware that I don't even want to use the hardware. Why would I want to use the plugin, right? But I'm just saying, this, I'm completely honest with you. You can hear it, Is it the same? It's the same old song from Analog versus Digital. It's close. So for some people, it's practically the same. To other people, it's entirely different because of what is missing. For sure, I can tell you one thing which happens on all hardware things, and it's not the converters of the Aurora, it's not the dangerous master, it's not the Mogami cables, whatever. It's not my parents being dissatisfied with my, outcome as a musician, producer, whatever. It's analog. It's just the three-dimensional thing. I can hear in the room when I put the 33609 on, I can hear it less permissive, less beautifying on the tails, which are better on the plugin. The tails are better on the plugin than the air of the drum kit speaks to me technically more on the plugin. I like it better on the plugin. But the hardware has kick sounds and snare sounds that I can guarantee you can see. It's that good. And that happens with any good piece of gear in a good setup. So there's nothing a plugin developer can do, but this is not $4,000. So I think this is good. We should try, you know what we should do now that we have our sounds dialed in? Let's do a Distressor British mode versus 33609 hardware. Let's forget about the plugin for a second, because I know your ears are there. We're here to build and educate. So we do, let me do it like this. Do we want to do it on the meters or do we want to do it on whatever? Let's do it on the multicam so you can see the numbers, okay? So 1 is the 33609, 2 is the distressors, okay? So I'm not gonna touch anything. The DAW is just deceiving you. There is actually no 33609 plugin being used. Let's do that. So the distressors in British mode are somebody who works in a professional studio and has absolutely no time to just mess around. Oh, Nick is burning my... All right, so I'm going to read it. Nick says, Alberto, have you compared the XT comp to the hardware? We're going to, because I have it. So back when they were developing, Kiive was developing the Distressor, they got in touch with me. I think that was pretty much around, or maybe a little bit past our first emails and things. And they said, like, you want to check it out and let us hear what you think. And it was kind of there, but, because it had British mode and it was kind of rare. So we're going to do that. You hear how the Distressor has really no ethical kind of principles, right? I love the Distressors so much. It's just giving you no way to go home late at the end of a recording mixing session. It just wants to get it done and knows the recording industry so well that the Distressor is just gonna say, don't worry, man, you're gonna go home today to your family not later than 1 minute from the studio. It's just unbelievably good, but it's very on point, and it's not that much artistic, so to speak, in my opinion. So X-Stressor, is this the one you said? That's the one I have, XT comp. Oh gosh, is this the one? I have this one. This is probably the XT comp, right? XT comp. Is it XT comp? The name is different. I did remember it as XT comp. I mean, it's gotta be this one. Okay. Now, this plugin, which we're gonna go for, where's the GUI? Here, 150. Oh yes, we need this stuff. Due to copyright issues, yeah. Okay. So I did update it though, recently, I'm sure. Do I have a version I can't show here? Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm getting burned. So, well, I mean, it's not their fault. I have these. I am absolutely sure that I have updated this plugin recently. I am absolutely sure. So either I got a wrong version, either it didn't install over it. I mean, either way, that's not gonna hold in court for sure. So no saturation, no warmth. And again, this is like, these on should be for the entire strip, but because I am kind of weird, I just do this. I just completely disable the bottom part for starters. So Nick says Kiive had to change the GUI. Yeah, probably. I mean, X-Stressor is already probably closed there, or change the GUI. So did they change everything? Like even the knobs? Because the knobs are, I mean, the situation here is it's on point there. So doesn't matter, because we'll find out when I get a cease and desist. That's what I'm sure, the knobs are different. Oh gosh. You're just witnessing the last stream on my YouTube channel. Remember to buy that chair sound library in January next year, because I am done. So we're gonna do DS2. We're gonna do HP and Bell, because that's what I have here. That's just I'm just trying to I'm enjoying my last stream because of this. Dave, please don't just shut me down. So you can't read. I mean, yes, you can see something. My library is built on virtual seating technology. Yeah, it's a seat changer. # seat changer. It's really gonna change. It's really gonna change the way you sit in your mixing sessions. I guarantee you that. All right, back to it. So I have 10-1. I have HP and Bell and DS2, which is Distortion 2. And then what I have, input 3, attack 3.5 is here, right? And this is almost 3, right here, whatever. and output 6.5. All right. Is this changing things? No. Auto gain? No auto gain. Presets. Okay, then I have British mode, image link. Okay, it's set. So, hey Joey. So they changed the knobs of Enfuse as well. All right. So, yeah. I mean, once you start it, it's probably gonna be like, what did I do? Anyway, I can guarantee you I did update this plugin. So I have no idea. And this has to be maybe 2 weeks ago. So it's way past their update. And again, so that's how it ends, people. That's the last stream. I'm getting leaked and probably cease and desist of like, why are you showing this? Anyway, Kiive has changed that. It's just probably an old version. Honest mistake. I don't know. They're not responsible for it. We got it. It's sounding for sure 100% the same. Their changes were cosmetic based on requests by the original manufacturer. We got it right. Now we do a comparison between the X-Stressor and the actual Distressor. So I have to put it on 2. And now we do the 1 and 2. We start with the X-Stressor, and then I go to the Distressors. You're going to see them blink on top there. Let's get our feet wet with this. All right, so it sounds tough. Let's try the Distressors. That was just a plugin, now Distressors. Now you might say, I don't hear it. Well, that's what it does. It's not really pushing things out. So we gotta make sure that this thing is really up to par with the hardware. Let's do that. Let's go here so that you can actually see it a little bit better. I'm gonna just try and tune the input to the output, or maybe just the input on the plugin. You know what? That's probably gonna work. So we keep the settings the same. I'm just double checking, but everything's kind of there. And then we're just gonna go past that. All right, let's try that. I'm just gonna mess with the input and output on top. You hear how polite the hardware is. All right, let's try that. All right, first things first, there's a volume discrepancy, and I'm also right heavy on the distressors. I'm gonna show you that I saw it on the meters, I hear it, and I'm gonna show you here. These two knobs are not at the same position, here and here. So because we're getting left to right dual mono action, this is even getting worse, right? So we're gonna do this. All right. So now for convenience, I've gone 6 straight. Okay, let's try it again. And let's try these again. Hear how angry the X-Stressor is. It's not a bad sound, but it's still a little bit louder, yes, but it's angry. AF. So let's go -8. Okay, I'm still tuning the left, right. Let's try that again. Kind of close. Kind of close. Now, when I disengage the hardware and go back to the plugin and vice versa, we have to let the compressor settle, right? Because it's really not there. And Nick said, like, try knocking it 2 dBs. It was actually more of a one thing. The hardware has a punch on the snare. And Nick said that, like, the hardware retains the punch of the kicks. They're more prominent. I hear it also on the snares. There's a tiny little bit of a transient that passes through, and that will actually kind of feel as if the kit is coming to me, but it's not. And I think that's the beauty of it. Now, the problem is the meters are not moving on the X-Stressor, but I guarantee you that they are moving. You can probably see them on the Distressors. My only worry is that they're so fast in lighting up and going down that they are not maybe visible all the time on the stream. I don't really know. But sometimes I really see 10 dBs of gain reduction lighting up and then going away, you know? So it's really fast and not grabby somehow. And because of how fast that is, it's not really telling me much in terms of compression. But the vibe is contained and kind of present, while the plugin is a little bit constraining it. But I'm thinking if we open the attack, we're gonna get it. So let's try that. Let me see here. Yeah, don't worry, Nix. It's so good. Yeah. How much is the cost difference between the hardware and kit? And the plugin, you mean, and Kiive's Ratchet. Hello. A lot. Like, I think Distressors with British mode are about $3,000, 2,700. So, I mean, 2,700 versus what? 9,949. So, I mean, and then we're in stereo. Don't forget that. So, a stereo pair of Distressors will get you close to, I think, 5,500 probably. I don't remember, but I mean, yeah. So what? It's like, you know, but hold on, because I'm going to move the attack. I'm going to make it probably even closer. Let me just tune my ears a little bit. Okay, what I would do is just go here and here. A little bit of a faster release. Maybe a release move is wrong. I'm going to make a mistake. But the attack, I'm sure, it's going to be a tad faster. But I have to move it while it's going. Completely unintuitively, I'm going a lot slower on the attack because that little move didn't really do much. Let's try that. Then we're going to try a trick that we were talking about on Discord, that is just making the mix compression dry wet a little bit, not 100% wet. But I've tried it in the past with this one, and I don't quite like it. And there's some plugins that I like to keep a 95% wet, others that I despise. This one didn't really give me a good impression. So I would rather have it the way it is. You know, it's not distant, but let's try again. Quick before and after. There is still a kind of a vibe difference. I am not sure if this is, you know, now it's just chasing the sound. So that's something I wouldn't do. If I have, you know, the plugin here, I will just make it there and just have it work. So I kind of like how it smashes with the distressors. I don't do that. Like something like, let me do undo, let me do a B, copy to B, something like that. Can we copy to B? Why don't I remember the shortcuts of these things? How do you copy to B? I'm sure there's a way. But yours truly doesn't know. He's hardcore. He doesn't use that. All right, so doesn't matter. We're just going to do it from here. I'm just going to try and push the input and not push the output. You hear it? The hardware is polite. But once we get the transient to pop in the X-Stressor or XT comp, the tails get angrier as well, which I'm okay, but on the hardware it doesn't happen. And Dramatic says, could you put the subtitle option and the translator in your videos? I thought I had it. I'll look into it, Dramatic. Absolutely. I thought I had it. So you mean the subtitles and translators are off for the streams and for the videos? I thought it would be auto-generated. I'll look into it, promise, because I thought it was on. I know it's a lot of help, so it's okay. And Nick says, Alberto, in terms of affecting the sound of the drums, what are you trying to achieve by using the distressors? If I were using the distressors on the drums, and I don't use them usually this way, I use them in parallel for kick and snare. But if I were to use them here, I want them to be packed in a way that it's constantly getting heard. And I'm gonna put the guitars and bass together so that we can hear this. All right, so let me take a look at here, this stuff. Okay, so right now this mix really has nothing but Sonimus console, just so you know. It's got, I was testing these, the N console, and it's got N bass, so it's a mix that's going through this, but you know, we're hearing them done and then we're processing our stuff, so it doesn't really matter. I have the data mix, which is absolutely insane. It's either, we were talking with PSP, this is either you love it or you hate it. And PSP knows that as well. They said, like, we know there's people that are not going to like this, but there's also people who are really going to love it. And I think if you're looking for a console sound that is more like the E27, the Avidis, but like the angriest the E27 can get is the starting point of the data mix. That's the ticket, this guy here. This is very soily. This is very groundy. This is very earthy. Okay, and the E27 is very, sort of like penthouse kind of level, in my opinion. So it doesn't matter. I've put these on. They're here. It's nice. Then what I have, okay, the bass compressor. This comes from a lesson I was teaching a week ago for a student who gave me these tracks. And I think this is Cambridge MTs or something. This is Dark Ride Dead Enemies, I think. So it was available as a multi-track. I'm thinking you can find that. So I've put the compressor and the EQ, and they're here, they're on, okay? It doesn't matter. You're welcome, Dramatic, absolutely. I'll look into it. I thought I had it, sorry. I thought I had the translator and auto-generating, what it's called, AI translation on. So let's try with everything off, and I'm just gonna let you hear drums, bass, guitars. It just doesn't matter who's playing. It's 4 tracks, okay? Okay, you got it. So the excellent question was, Nix, what do you look for in using a pair of distressors, okay, on the drum bus like this, okay? I'm gonna show you what I mean by using the X-Stressor here, okay? So I'm keeping pretty much these settings, for example, and I'm just gonna dial it in so that the drum kit has that something that the distressors can give you with these kind of settings. almost there. Notice I have to go -10. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I have this one on, and then I'll answer your questions as well because I see the chat's popping up. So it's really not doing much. It must not be doing much, okay? And so the problem is here, the LEDs don't light up. So it's more of looking at the THD thing. It's just a leveling situation that I want. So I'm gonna try and go back to input 0 and keep the input here so it's not balanced. This is it, okay? I'm gonna press play and just go bypass. I think I got it the way I would kind of want it. So I'm gonna go power off and on. And again, this is I don't know why I have this interface. They've changed the interface. This is not the current interface, but this is XT comp. For some reason, I have the old one, whatever. It's not Kiive's fault, honest mistake, but it's bypass and it's probably different, but it looks like power on and off. You know what that is. So off. Don't tell me you have not heard this sound in hard rock heavy metal productions since the Distressor was born. This is it. It's a volume thing. Yes, it's a volume thing because the drums were a little bit low, but it's a drums not giving up thing. It's just so good. And it's so unbelievably flat on this. And the Distressor works. Actually, we're going to hear it with the hardware. This one's angrier. So maybe you want it angrier, you know? So that's okay. It's just putting the drums in a context of being packed and never ever giving up. If you listen to this stream now and I'm pressing play, I'm gonna press play and you lower your headphones volume or speakers volume, you're gonna hear the drums are gonna be almost too loud at lower volume. But before they were completely disappearing. So now you can really place them there and have them never give up, because bands doing this music, they want the kick to be 100% understandable because the drummer has double pedal action and probably 300 snares, 1400 cymbals. Everything has to be played in a very detailed way. They want to hear it, okay? So let's do it before and after again, and then we do on the hardware. I'm going to answer. I think Jolie asked something. Yeah, okay. Without. You hear it? Cymbals. Awesome. It looks like they have that, you know, I think this is good. This is a good thing. And it's ending up to be an advertisement for Kiive. We're going to try the hardware. You're going to hear it. It's a little bit more polite. But cymbals, they look like they have their own overhead compressor. Kick compressor. Snare compressor. It's not. It's just the distressors on top doing something like the 1176s in a lot of top 40 country kind of level music. But they do it in a much angrier way, I think. So it's just nice. So this works. I would, if I had to use a distressor here, it sounds to me like that. Maybe though, this is always gonna be too aggressive. So if we have something that is more in the jazz fusion thing, or like, you know, cleaner, this is gonna be a little bit angry. Maybe. So you have to find ways to tame it down. Let's try the hardware. Jolie said, do you compensate for the large mid dip on the PSP data mix? Let me see. Mid dip. Hold on. I'm going to find where I dipped. I dipped the guitars in 2K. No, I don't think I compensate there. Maybe. Is it this one? No. Well, the kick is getting like a 500 kind of dip. But it's got tons of 4, and the snare is a lot of 2 kilohertz. See, that's probably the thing. Am I compensating? No, I'm kind of adding the 2 kilohertz there. So I mean, this is not a done mix, obviously, but I think I want to take the guitars away from where vocals are in or the snare hit, just having them feel. I don't know why I did that, but you know, that's how it is. So it's probably that. It's kind of a guitar snare thing. Could work. The deep could work well for kicks. Yeah, for sure. You mean the 2 kilohertz? Yes, but I'm lifting the 4 because on this genre I kind of wanted to, you know, have that kind of clicky thing. So the 609 can do it as well. Let's try the 609 for a second. But you can't really hear the kicks that well, right? The reason is it's not like the British mode on the Distressors. This is more like a beautiful compressor working on it, but now we're not multi-managing the drum kit any longer. You know, it's got that vibe. The snares are really nice, but we don't get the best of everything. The Distressors are really insane for that. So it's absolutely really nice. It sounds cool. We tried it. We know, but it's just you will probably get a bit angrier doing it like this. Let's try. Let's give it a chance. I'm gonna show you. If you wanna really get badass on these, you will probably do this. Almost there. I had controls kind of on the for some reason. Like, what is happening? So I am going down with the input because I want to have control over the threshold, but I went to 6 to 1. Hear it out. Okay, so here, 6 to 1 to me has that kind of attitude. Did I miss you going over the Kiive 609 earlier? Yes, probably yes. We did a comparison with the hardware unit, and you'll see it afterwards with the hardware I have, with the 609 JD here, the hardware, and then we did it with the real one just on drums, and it's there, and we just pinpointed what changes are. Yeah, absolutely. Probably because when you wrote something, it was already kind of into the stream. So yeah, probably. But there will be a rewatch anyway, so don't worry. So this one is a little bit more of an angrier situation, and I like these a lot better. Like if we want to get it to the Distressor kind of level. But you know, these guys, it's a little bit of an older boxer. It can still punch very hard. The Distressors just got the genetics of being younger, so it's just, you know, it's just gonna win. But the new version that Audioscape has, which I cannot do on mine, is that there's a high-pass filter 50 or 100 hertz or off. And the 100 hertz is kind of helping it compete against our HP mode on the sidechain of the detector for the Distressors. Unbelievable that it's a 10 to 1, but it's a British mode. It's just a weird way of using the compressor. So this would be my way of using it on the drums, especially on a genre like this. What I find the Kiives to be is they're a little bit aggressive, which I like. You know, the complex is, I like. The complex is probably the one I'm using the most. That's stuck, you know, with the template. But, you know, I don't know how the original is. I don't have one, but it's kind of there. It's kind of very, you know, very edgy and nice. And these Distressors seem to have a little bit of that push. Now, what if we were to use the hardware unit? So I'm gonna go probably like this, so you can see a little bit of the hardware. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm gonna do, actually no, you have to see this one here, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the inputs to push into the Distressors, okay, which are here. See how I'm splitting against different cameras. I'm not gonna go touch the compressors. I'm just gonna do it from the master here. I could do it from the plugin, of course, because if you look here, I have input and output gain faders on the hardware send, so that's okay. But let's use the hardware since we have it. It's nice, okay? So I'm gonna press play and we're gonna listen to the groove, but we're gonna try and place the drums within the context of what the distressors were doing before. You hear it? I'm fascinated by hearing this is getting streamed and recorded, because it's, I would love to be doing this in person with you, but it's just impossible, right? Now, I'm gonna play it again, okay? So I got the volume where it's kind of sitting on top of the mix enough without being too much forward. And remember, we're gonna compare it with the X-Stressor, but it feels way less aggressive. Like it punches less, but it knows where to punch. And the tail on the snare is the absolute ticket. This one's different, and this one's, to me, is still undefeated. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember how it sounded. So let's try and go without. Actually, no. We're just going to go, do we go without and with? Yeah, okay. So we do without the Dangerous Master. This is live. I'm improvising. And then we are going to engage the Dangerous Master, and you are going to see the distressors, compress. So without and with, it's just a tiny little bit of a yellow light, but that is going to help you. So let's do this. Each time that snare hit, it just gives me a dopamine rush. It's just like, yes, yes, yes. And this is 2 and 4, right? Not really, because it's like playing off. But, yes. And this is what we're not getting used to as much as I would want. It's just so good. But now let's try the X-Stressor or XT comp, obviously, against the distressor. So the only thing I'm gonna do is I don't want to touch anything. I will just move the output down of the plugin or up if it's off, okay? That's about it. It's different. It's different. Now, I am not infallible. You might, try it, hear it. You remember that it was kind of sounding 1-to-1, but way more aggressive, right? But it was a nice sound, the plugin versus the hardware, which was like polite and there. Now, in the mix, it's a completely different thing, because a snare into the plugin, the bass with the plugin has the snare be 1-to-1 with the, I think it's a China, or whenever it's splashing, or the cymbals. While on the hardware, the snare separates itself from the cymbals and just sits on top. Like when the snare is hitting, it's just spotlight on the snare in terms of, I can see, the arm action of the drummer. I can see that it's just a hammer of the gods on the snare, and it's just splashing, it's just so nice. On the plugin, I hear it, okay, it's aggressive, but it's not micromanaging the parts. Still sounds super good, but man, this sets the thing apart. Now, Eddie's gonna watch these and gonna say like, no, you should do, I'm sure. We could try and, fiddle with the attacks, releases, and things, make it a little bit wider, go up. But you heard how the hardware pushes up and yet stays contained. the Distressor goes aggressively on it, but then it falls short on the details. Both are great, but they're not one-to-one. They're different. The lights, the LEDs, all the different things, they're different. So it doesn't quite match up to that. But that's good. That's good. They're both great plugins and you can work with them. But once you hear that smash of the stick on the snare, I can guarantee you work with drummers, they track something, maybe live, they come to you from the live room completely covered in sweat. They get back into the control room and they do like, yes, I think this was it. I think I nailed the take. This is much better than before. Can I hear it? And you press play through a session that is tracking maybe the drums live into these two distressors, something I've done, for example, when I had HDX going and you can do zero latency. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of something that is smudging off because they haven't played it 100% right. Obviously, if they played it right, it's better, but they're gonna go like, oh yeah, like they're gonna love the sound of it because it's translating the violence on the snare, the aggression factor. So, okay, it works. Now, I'm sure you're gonna have questions or anything, but I'm gonna go on because today we just saw the data mix, but it's new, right? This we did, and I guarantee you, if you have the Avedis E27, Avedis, how do you call that? I'm gonna go special edition because I always use that. So the PSP E27 SE that I love, it's another plugin I like a lot, is more like air, the air element, okay? Sort of like up in the trees and then up there. Alberto is still going strong. Yes. Hi, Martin. Hope you had a good evening. Welcome. As usual, you missed a lot. I mean, not as usual because you come late, but as usual, this is recorded, so don't worry about that. You can rewatch things. And so the E27 SE, I was just an Inception. It's an amazing plugin. I like it. But if you drive it hard, you can get it to sound a little bit like high ceiling nice. But the most aggressive part of the PSP E27 is just the beginning of the data mix A567. Like the A567 is not just polite. It's kind of unruly in a nice way. So it starts where the E27 ends, but they're very different. But we were not there to talk about that. Let me erase this. I told you these just small section has the N bus and console bus and channel on all of these with the groups made and all that stuff. Look here. This is the groups, drums, bass, guitars. I'm driving them a little bit. It's just not too much. Look at that. Look where we are. And this was always on, okay? So Martin had it but sold it 2 times. Well, maybe you just don't click with the E27. Doesn't matter. I think it's got great high to high mids. It's kind of a mag thing, but in a very kind of different way, like diamond kind of thing. You know, the mag air is kind of different. So then this mix has the red 3 and 2, just a test mix for a lesson that I had done a week ago and then I loaded today. So we have the Dangerous Master. I'm gonna keep the Distressors on there because it's just nice. And we have a new plugin that I want to use on guitars. This might crash our computer, we don't know, but the transformer option, yes, absolutely. It's nice. If I could get a hold of 2 for cheap, which is impossible, I might get 2. They're very good also on the bass and stuff. So we got this thing. Christian told me that there's a new plugin that Acoustic Audio has made that's called Teal. Or Teal, but it's actually, no, it's Teal. I love the logo here, how they've done it. I know where they took it from. I'm gonna go 2 times. Holy, okay. So maybe not 2 times. Why is it that big? That's not 2 times, that's 4. Can you see that? Yes. I guarantee you I can see it from here. All right, so we got oversampling. I'm gonna go 2 times. You know, I think my buffer now is 2048, something like that. And this is the last section of the stream, and this is complete free jazz. It's just like, what are these guys playing? So I have not opened this plugin, so you will see failure happening probably. So we got auto compensation on or off, input drive, okay, output, in saturation, soft or hard, okay, the usual monitoring by Acoustica, awesome, dry mix wet knob, okay, awesome, high pass with the low shelf, and low pass with the high shelf, okay, meters, that's nice. This green thing is kind of scary. Reminds me of when I was sick as a kid and my mom had to kind of give me medicines to kind of get the fever down. These things had a similar shape, although this, I gotta say, it's much bigger than it used to be. So I hope, I would want to go maybe 0.0008 on it. So it's supposed to be a tube emulator. Ethan's giving you all sorts of information because it's just a machine. Yeah, exactly. So that's his job. That's what it's hired to do. So we got modes. Okay, so modes, rhythm, Coffee 47 microphone in line. Okay, the Caviar 27. Okay, I think, okay, 270, 271, Eminence 128, Violet line and mic. Okay, good. So these are pre or post what? The drive or the mode. Okay, so the mode can be pre or can be post. And then we have shelves. Okay. You know what? I put it on guitars? It's wrong. We should put it on the whole bus. I want to hear the whole mix. He's my assistant, yeah. But it's half, it's a very elaborated machine. Yeah. Ethan. Look it up in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. That's where I got him from. And that's probably going to be another season disease later from Activision. Dude, stop. Yeah, my AI assistant. That's true. I have limited number of prompts every month, though. So I can only, make one espresso a day gets me over the month, but no more. So let's try this. I'm going to press play from... Are you tired of listening to this from this part? Let's do here. Here. All right, so this bypass is wrong. It's a ballsy song, right? There's distressors, hardware distressors on the drums that are now kind of pushing the compressor, maybe the bass compressor a little bit too much. But I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like it, the way it's pushing down. So what is this? So I'm doing bypass or engage. This should work, right? Why am I not hearing anything when it's here? Oh, okay. I told you failure was gonna happen. So bypass in white is bypassing. So let's drive it up. I have no idea how this is gonna work. Remember, this is just on the mix bus, so it's a lot. Let's try that. This final part is a little bit. I love this section though, where the guitars are kicking hard. Let's try the first part. I'm still trying to get acquainted. You don't have auto on. Yeah, exactly. Christian said you don't have auto on. I just didn't want something in the middle before I knew what they were doing. So let's try that. Okay, I'm liking this. There's one thing I like about this. Hold on. Okay, so far in this thing, this kind of you missed the Kiive 609 section. Yes, you did. We did hardware versus plugin, everything. Yeah, everybody, people are dropping in and say like, "Hi, everybody. Sorry, did I miss something?" I was like, "Yes, you did. You did." So here, but it's recorded. Yeah, don't worry. So Caviar 27, I like. There's also Violet. Let's try Eminence and Violet. But this is kind of good. Let me try A to B. Let's try B, because this one I kind of liked. So what is it doing that I like? It's left-right content for harmonic content on the sides is getting more interesting. And so I kind of hear the guitars being some sort of like it's a wider mix without being wider. So it's more interesting. This one's nice. I have carbing the 82 high pass, and I don't know why or whatever. It's just low shelving minus 2.5 because we're gaining a lot of lows from the distressors that are already set to overkill, but it's such a good sound, and that's okay. It's the more drums, right, thing. But this one's rebalancing really right and nice. I kind of didn't like the pre-modes. Even if I had to go to Caviar 27 to kind of like it. Channel 2 is kind of cool on post. And I'm keeping it. I think Christian wrote it on Discord. He said, I think if you keep it at 50% dry wet, that's a good start to experiment with the plugin because, I mean, especially on a mix bus, I totally agree. Because it's just like, if you go 100%, you have to go 2% input drive and stuff. And with the technology and the way Acustica does stuff, I would rather go 50%. On other algorithms, you can kind of do it by dialing in the amounts. Here, I would kind of want to have a good solid contribution and then have just half of it in my feed. So yeah. Then I'm shelving 0.5, but I'm cutting at 1800, 18,000. That's solid. Okay, so now let me try and the auto compensation is a must for sure because then you can go output compensation. So this is good. Let me try the other modes. Let's keep going. Okay, so violet is destroying our kick sound and just bringing the high mids up, but I 50% would be a lot. If you overcompensate with the input drive, if you stay low on the input drive, it kind of gave me a little bit too much honk, but the kick wasn't there, so I kind of always liked it maybe without. I still believe that like for this, eminence could be good if we go like 10%. Let's try this. Okay, so what I noticed is that if you change the mode, even if it's post, which I mean, it's just, I'm learning this as we go. So this one is nice as well, so Smarty. Yes. But what did I just learn? That if you change the mode, especially if you go post, but I kind of like it post. I don't know, like my brain is thinking that the mode is the last thing and then we mix it into the mode for whatever reason. When we started and I heard like, wow, I mean, there's a lot of lows. It was the mode that was giving me that. With eminence or violet line, so 5, 6, and 7 had just a very weak low registry. So the -2 point something on the shelf and the high pass were really working without needing to, there was no need to cut that high because the model was not pushing that high, the lows, that much of the low frequency content. But the first modes I had were doing that, so that's why my shelf and HPF were set that way. Now we go eminence, you have to rebuild it. And I think I went like 10% dry wet, which is, we're getting close to real world kind of scenarios. A lot of hard saturation, but just a little bit in there. I no longer perceive it as tube saturation. I perceive it as some sort of like openness and a little bit of high mid edge. I will give you that. The most realistic thing this Teal has is that high mid presence for sure. Or is it high mid? It's more like mid frequencies a bit higher, whatever. So within 2K or something, which some Ampex machines, then when they had a lot of tubes, like 351 transformers, what is it? Like the amp stage of the 351 is huge and gets you that thing. So James says, does that suggest that Teal would work well as a retardant rather than an insert that you can send multiple tracks to? I do it with saturators. I don't do it anymore with the culture vulture, but I had it. I've done records where the culture vulture is on send retardant, for example. Yeah. So you can keep it at 100%. And right now we just have guitar, drums, bass, just to get a feel of it. I'm just putting it on the mix bus and just hear how fast transients, honky bass, mid registry, open guitars, they're kind of reacting. But yeah, I mean, with synthesizers for sure. And the dry wet is so critical, and then you can OS it 16 times. Well, I don't know if I could. Here the demo goes to 8 times. But as I said, you gotta get your CPU as hot as the tubes, otherwise it doesn't sound good. Your mix is lacking because your CPU is not hot enough. Go some sort of like AMD Athlon XP. You remember how hot those things were? Insane. So yeah, for sure. I mean, we could try that, but it's gonna be hard to design a sound. But we could try that. So we take it off the mix. We add an effects bus track, and this is where you really need to know your plugin. Short of making the send return blue, you really need to know your thing. So first and foremost, the routing. So this is gonna go back to mix bus Okay, now we have this Teal T that is gonna stay open here, and that's quite big now though. Can we work with this way? Oh my god, okay. Well, it's too small. I'm gonna make it one time, all right? 1 to 1. Reason being, I would like to just work the tracks here, okay? So bass, guitars, snares, well, old snares is fine. So you see at the bottom I have drums, bass, guitars. It's just 2 guitars? Man, these people are very angry, you know? So I think I missed some message. Hold on, I haven't missed it. I watched it back. Okay, no. That's okay. Maybe you should put the low shelf positive instead of minus. You saw me doing that, right? I did 0.03. I was like, why am I losing so many lows? Because all of a sudden the low shelf was compensating the mode. And when you go to, I said Eminem's Violet 2 line and microphone, things were kind of getting there. So where would I start? I have no idea. Let's keep eminence here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna send my drums to it. Okay, all of them, but I'm gonna go pre-fader. I'm gonna mute the drums, and I wanna hear hopefully how these sounds. Let me probably the best thing I have to do is either mute the other tracks. Hear how the kind of like the distortion's working on my drums. All right. Of course, because I muted it. Okay, I got it. I'm a professional, don't worry. So now we're hearing just the distortion, okay? This is gonna be just to dial in something that I believe will work. Let me reset everything. Again, you gotta know the plug. I'm doing it, but you gotta really know what's going on in the plugin. It takes a little bit of time, but let's pretend I do know. Some people will go for something extreme. I will honestly not do it. Let me try soft sat, and I'll tell you when it's kind of looking nice. Okay, so this is crunching. Let me try and get the lows out. Let's try this. You hear how weird that is? I'm trying to find the sweet spot of the kick to be a little bit musical, but without the low content. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try this kind of sound, or maybe the shelf. Let's see if the high is giving me something with the LP remodeling. You know, I would keep it here. And this one's kind of like, I don't know, a leveler action. So let's try without and with. It could work. It could work. There's danger here on the path because it could easily get us to have like phase issues with the drums, kick, or whatever. But let's try that. So I'm gonna start assigning channels to it, and we see where it goes, okay? But with the full mix, okay? Actually, no, let's do bass. I'm gonna add it, and then guitars, and so we hear what it does. And then I start giving it, you know, to a little bit of something and everything. So we're gaining up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like sort of like 60 Bs down, because I want the sense to be kind of on par, getting me a little bit of loudness, but not that much. Guitars, how would the guitar sound? It's not much, but that's why I think it could work. Let's try that. Now I'm gonna play it, and then I start adding things. Okay, I think it's doing what it should. We're using it as an exciter, sorta, but organically, not like an Aphex whatever, like, you know, a more organic kind of oral exciter. So I kind of went a lot up with the high shelf. Oh wait, is it bypassed? No, was it? Hold on. It was. So what I did was just insane. All right, so hear me out. Hear what I did without doing absolutely nothing. All right. I think did I click it or not? I was just injecting some stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Like, okay, we're gonna do that. Let's keep it in bypass, and I'm gonna mute this, and I'm going to just play what I did. So I brought some snare down into the bus, some more kick sample, the overheads and drums and room, bass and guitars. Okay, this even our masters makes it. Yeah, absolutely. We do it before and after, the way I've done it. Let me check that I haven't done it elsewhere. This is good. This is good. So stay with me. This is awesome. I've dialed the bass, right? But then it's completely, I'm pretty sure it was in bypass, because bypass white should be bypass. I don't think I've clicked it. So essentially what I have is a perfectly time compensated in delay bus that goes to the mix bus in post. Okay? So what am I doing? I am sending more to the bass compressors, in this case an EQ, to the bass processing, but I'm not sending the whole mix, right? What did I choose to send? Electric guitars to both of them, bass, overheads and drums, and the snare bottom and the kick sample out of the three. You know, in this case, it means bypass is engaged. Exactly. So when bypass is engaged, bypass is active. So you are bypassing. So what I've done is I've created a perfectly time-aligned bus because of the DAW, latency compensation, that has sent to the mix bus compressor more of what I've chosen. And to me, it sounded better, or we're going to try the difference. I should actually close this because it's in bypass, right? It sounded better because I am telling the detector in the compressor and the actual mix to get more of that feed. But these things are not going to the buses, although there's just an N bus, or there's actually a data mix. Okay, so in the case of the drums, my kick sample, snare down, overheads, and room are going to the bass compressors before the distressors. Okay? So I'm sending more of the clean kick sample, snare down, overheads, drum rooms to the mix bus. So I'm sending more clean stuff versus what the distressors do. In the case of bass, same deal. I've sent more of the bass, but there's no processing on the bus, so I'm just adding volume to it, okay? In the case of the guitars, this is interesting. If you can stay with me, this is really good. Accident that happened, but stay with me. In case of the guitars, you heard, we talked about it, Jolie asked, there's a scooping of the guitars, right? There's this EQ, which is only on the bus. Meaning, if I have sent, and I have done, I've sent the guitars from the actual guitar tracks, I am sending to the mix compressors, to the mix processing, the non-EQ'd version of the guitars. Meaning I am not pushing the 120, the 8 kilohertz, and I'm not scooping the 2 kilohertz. This is probably why the drums are getting a cleaner and more natural feel. Bass is just getting more volume, which we probably wanted, or I probably wanted, and guitars are getting a feed of the non-EQ'd into the bass compressors, which is giving me a little bit more of those sides that I've scooped, resulting into a more complete image rather than just scooped guitars. Because that's a pretty heavy 2K scoop, right? So let's try it without and then with. And remember, this is just volume, okay? I'm just signal, but it's getting into the mix bus, okay? So it's rebalancing. For those of you who followed, like Brower Eyes methods, this is kind of a bus E thing happening by accident, but this is completely time compensated, and this is, the mid scoop is insanely wide. Unless you go like Q2, then it's kind of keeping constant, but some of the frequencies are even wider than others. It's just completely natural, but really wide. So without and then with. It sounds better with, to me. It sounds better with. So no wonder I was doing those charts. You hear how it's kind of fuller? As I said, we analyzed everything. Bass is just more volume. But the guitars have that kind of dry wet knob for the EQ, and the drum room and the bottom snare and the overheads and the kick sample are kind of being pushed past the distressors, away from the distressors. So they're rebalancing themselves. I like that. So this is a case of me, working with the processor in bypass and then doing something that works in the mix. What would I do here is I would create a bus, this Teal T, that is called clean. Okay? I will duplicate this guy. I will remove Teal from the clean, and then I'm gonna call Teal T, this one. Why would I do this? And this is again critical, because this is the mix we like. And this is maybe you don't like it, but I do like it better. I like this clean version of it, okay? So we now keep what I had, exactly the same, and now we do what we were supposed to do, which was send return versions on Teal T, ASMR. Absolutely. So insanely useful for the happy accident that is, because we don't talk about that much, but now this was the perfect scenario. So this is now a clean bus. This could become a mixing method. What if you send these and the band liked it? I like it better. So what if the band likes it better? You say like, well, but I made a mistake. So, well, there's actually no fatal mistake because you have latency compensation. If you were doing these in analog, I don't know. maybe chances are it wouldn't, I don't know, maybe work. If you were sending your clean to the masters without going through the mix bus, that's a routing issue. But the way it's set, it works. So now we keep it where it is. We do what we were supposed to do, which is our TLT. So let's try and introduce this guy. Let's remove the bypass first, because then, oh, the reference, the keyboard. Yes, pure SMR, my keyboard now. Much more relaxed now that I'm doing this. So now we take the bypass off and we fix the mistake we had, because the question is, dude, is it working? It is, but let's see where we are. Remember, the shelf was not that high, so I'm still thinking maybe I don't have to push it there. It was kind of here. Then we'll see. Mental note on the high shelf. So let's do this. I still believe that the elements that we needed are what I had in the clean. So okay, so now it's working, but it's phasing everything. And this would actually be the issue of a non-delay compensated session as well. Or I'm thinking this is latency compensated. There's probably no bug in the plugin or in anything. It's just that what we are introducing into the core of the sound is just not giving us anything interesting, okay? So it's a matter of just changing how things are, and guitars are perfect for this kind of stuff. So I tuned it on the drums. It didn't really work. So let me tune it on the guitars and see where we are here. You hear it? You hear it? Send Giancarlo a bug report. Yeah, I got slaughtered. No, I'm gonna get just an automated message. That's easy. Let's try and flip phase, because hold on, let me use MSCD. Let's flip phase here. Let's see if it works just by changing it. I'm thinking it won't, but that's a completely different era, and there's just a few bands who dared to go there. It's not working, okay? So it's not about flipping phase. It's not right. So let me try and find something different. Maybe overcooking it, maybe. Or maybe changing the mode. Rammstein. Yeah. You heard that, right? I heard it. I don't remember exactly which kind of album made it the most into that scoop thing. Very obnoxious. I love that sound, but it's just contextualizing. Here, you would get like, can you change your guitar sound? Now, I've changed the mode. Caviar 27, channel 1. This is more like it. Let me try without and with. Okay, so this one's coherent. What I'm lacking is I would like to scoop this dude here in the mids. So that's like hold on, I got it. Who is capable of scooping tons of mids? We just said that, right? So let's try that. This one here. Variation, I don't need. Let's try, we have numerical values, whatever. Let's try this. You heard it? Or maybe before the saturation. Well, actually, it's a good question. Like maybe before the saturation, my thinking is I like how it sounds now. Or, I don't completely dislike how it sounds. I just feel like it could be better. Okay, it's hard to explain why I thought after. I keep thinking like, okay, that's my device, that's my saturation device. A lot of them do this. There's no way of doing this. We could try before. I mean, this certainly works. I kind of like it. Hear how ballsy the sound is now that we've taken out that 2K. So I'm gonna do without and with. So I mean, yeah, it's still scooped, right? But it's a lot better. So how about it before? Let's try that before tilt. Okay, now it's too much if you do it before. Hey Rambo, hello there. Welcome to the stream. If I do the same settings and just move them before, it's too much. Why? Because we still have to saturate. So a little goes a long way, then the saturator doesn't do that. So let me try and copy this to B. Just move the knob back to 0. The frequency is right. We just have to go a little bit less probably. Okay, so B here or B squared? B here or A after? I like Martin's version better. I like it better B before the saturator. Yeah, and the caviars, says Jolie, are also very scooped. Martin says I like it better before with B. Me as well. It's more natural, more organic. So now this one's gonna stay for the whole of the kits. But this could be your guitar saturator, and then you use another Teal somewhere else. But I'm thinking it might work. Let me hear the bass. Right? It's not really, clinching. That's okay. Let's do bass and guitars. Oh, hold on. Maybe I had it off. Hold on. I have to do bass and the bass. My mistake. Hold on. Let's go without Teal, and then I'll bring it on. All right, so bass, I don't really think we kind of need it. I'm curious to hear the rooms and the overheads. Okay, so the rooms are and the overheads are absolutely horrible. So this is definitely a guitar saturator the way we've said it. The mid scoop's really cool. Yeah, I've used it on the kicks and stuff. It's got some balls on the lows as well, like insane. And the highs are kind of it's a very earthy EQ somehow. I said that 400 times. PSP maybe right now it's like, use it, show it. It's like, no. That's the best reverse psychology thing. So we have a guitar saturator. It's not really drums or bass oriented. It just doesn't want to work there. I would not use it. But for guitars, yes. So let's try a mix, same mix without Teal and with. Can you believe the guitars were there before? Right? Right? I mean, come on. Have I touched something that... No, right? It's all good. So without Teal, we got the data mix before, scooping, drive at the normal, variation, channel select. We just kept it at the sharp hashtag. That's the real numerical values. To me, it works. And, MSCD, what is it doing? Nothing. So MSCD, we can take it out. So without, So now acoustic audio is gonna just dial whatever pizza delivery they have in their, maybe that's too far. All right, they gotta dial somebody close to my area and bring in whatever. They can choose the pizza, whatever, but that's on them. I mean, it works, right? It really works. Again, as usual, do you have to use this? No. Is this the only one that does it? No. But is it working? For sure. However, without that scooping before, an all-in-one solution to me, it always brought something that I didn't like. But with that, huge 2 kilohertz scoop, because this thing doesn't go light. I mean, huge. It's a minus 3.3, but if you look it on Plugin Doctor or something, it's just completely. So while I'm waiting for my pizza to arrive, tomorrow is fine. Doesn't need to be today. I'll say that it works. It's a good saturator. I mean, I can't put my hands on it and say like I bless it. I've used it for 30 minutes, but definitely what I've learned from it is the mode is what sets things first. So I would probably find my default settings and I would choose the mode that works. I keep believing that post is what I want to use it, but if it's pre, it's even faster. If you vibe better with pre, it's faster because you set the behavior and then you go from there. But I kind of like to prepare things going into the mode and just experiment. I mean, I haven't tried them all with these much, but just moving on, I was like, no, wait, this one's great for guitars and stuff. So, for example, Kiive 27, drums, what did we use for drums? I don't remember. Eminence, I think I had that one. I'm sure you can find different saturator styles. Jolie, I would have Ethan taste any pizza sent from AA first. He's a robot. Whatever, anything. But because he's got an anti-poison kind of detector for sure. All right, yeah. He for sure has UV lights for hotel rooms. Lumino. That's a great feature I added to Ethan. Saved me a lot of trouble. It's kind of musicians, they don't really choose the best hotels, so it's kind of risky. It's a bugged pizza for sure. Nah, it's we shouldn't really pick on acoustic audio that much. We could pick on Giancarlo, that for sure. But the guys behind it, I guarantee you, there's a lot of people behind breaking their backs for it. So yeah, but I like to pick on them. They know that. I mean moderate amounts of harm, not too much, not 100% wet. It's not 100% wet. So, but this works. This works very nice, and it proved that when I had it in bypass, it's almost like, what was I thinking? It sounds much better with, like the guitars are fuller. And I'm gonna say this, a technique like this, if you use Teal or something else, is just gonna give you that wall of guitar short of all of the resonances that you kind of carve out. It's very common for these genres to have something like Pro Q3 or Oxford EQs or some very clean digital EQ to take out all of the resonances. These, maybe not this production, but I've done this production with some bands that record guitars in very small booths. They use 57s and E606s or E609s by Sennheiser, which are fun, they're good microphones. But what you end up doing is you gotta work your way into carving the resonances if you really want to get that wall of sound from the guitars. This one will let your soundstage be filled. You have no keyboards, you have nothing else. There's just two guitars, and it will let your bass go through it and your drums kind of be angry and fit. When you do that much carving, you kind of don't feel the guitars any longer. You can kind of hear them, but you don't feel them that much. But then what happens is something like a saturator will blend in the things you've taken out and will kind of recreate a better guitar tone. Does it make any sense? Because if you're left with the carving of the the resonances, you're left with, again, a guitar tone you can hear and maybe like, but not feel. That's why a lot of people, when they were mixing on consoles and they had a lot of scooped guitars and very elaborated miking that had been cleaned digitally, they would just go 100 hertz and go up, and maybe even 7K, boom, up, and you think like, whoa, like what is it, like +6? And it just creates a scoop of bells in the middle that you can tune in. This has done it in a completely different way, but it worked. I would add a mid scoop, and this would be kind of cool. You don't have to use, I hope they don't model the mid of the 567, but we found a golden combo for sure. Data mix before and then Teal after. It sounded better than the opposite, the other way around. And as is like, of course they're serious. I mean, of course they are, because they're being, just pushed to do a plugin a day. I hope they don't do a plugin a day, because it just doesn't make sense. People don't have the metabolism to just absorb this. So, that's it. That's it. People, we did a lot of stuff today. It's put up or shut up. I didn't shut up for sure. So I hope I put up. We did distressors, here with the 33609. The culture vulture is on by default because my bass station and bass line go through it. And then the P8, we compared the 33609 with the distressors just because, we talked about the distressors. They're not comparable, but I wanted to let you hear what the British mode did and stuff. And then we moved into the Martin says, I don't want to see all that hardware. Yeah, it's just one section. Imagine. There's more. But then we did this comparison of the plugins and hardware for the 33609, which is not really a Kiive that I emulated, but got it close, talked about the differences. Then we did distressors versus the XT comp, and then we took on just the Teal thing, which just Teal came out today? Yesterday maybe, right? So yeah, Martin, yeah. So there's gonna be a rewatch. You missed the first half, don't worry, it's gonna be fine, because I think YouTube's gonna give it to you right off the bat right now. I have this amazing Halloween thing that I bought, which is like, it's plastic, but if I told you this was glass, it's filled with candies. So Halloween's getting close, and this kind of looks super cool. And I like it. You can kind of see it at first, but if I move it right, you're like, crap, this is nice. And so, it's not the head of my last assistant. Valeria saw it at the supermarket and said, like, look what I found. And I remember she said, it's the last black one. I think it's kind of cool because it's kind of got this black shade thing, and the head opens, and there's tons of candies inside. And you know what's the amazing thing? I'm not lying. The net weight is I'm not lying. It's here. It's 333 grams. So this is half the number of the beast, the way it is right now, because I haven't eaten anything from it, and I don't think if I will, because right now it's just perfectly charged. It's just it's kind of like a necromancer buff thing tool. I need 2 exactly. It was the last black one. Now the hunt is on. We need to find another supermarket of the same chain and buy it. You get 2 and they connect together, and they and they give you the most amazing necromancer sugar rush probably ever. You need a stereo version. All right, but I'm not lying. It's 333 grams. It's just not harmful because it's in its inert state. But if you get 2, that's where you. Right. So via Bluetooth, that'd be nice. However, I will tell you this: there's the eyes that you can't maybe see, and I will do an LED job in here with batteries once the cookies are done. If I survive the sugar rush and all the stuff, I'll probably give them away. I hope kids come and just ring at the door, because please save me. Anyway, there's eyes here, like some, just decal. But if you do like LEDs in here, with 2 resistors, I have tons of LEDs, like a bright but kind of warm yellow. Then or I should do actually purple. I think I have purple or blue. Yeah. All right. So that's a project for another time. Thank you very much, people, for being here. As usual, I don't do it every week. I don't announce them beforehand. I don't use my nifty, thrifty Instagram account to get all the likes beforehand, make sure all the teenagers come. I'm not good with that. But once we do the streams, we have a good time, I think. So we'll keep doing this, of course. And I just have to say goodbye and go to dinner. I hope you had a good time. Martin, Jolie, James. There's a lot of you here that Rambo, I'm just gonna say everybody. Nix for sure, just stay here, and Christian as well. I don't know if he's still around. Dramatic. I will look into the subtitle options and translators options for the videos. I thought they were on, and I'm sure I forgot somebody else. So, well, all right. I think you know who you are. That's how you say. So thank you very much again. We'll see each other soon. And hop over on Patreon. If you aren't a patron of mine, check it out. It's really inexpensive, but it helps me become powerful, rich, and influential in today's world, which is going to set the world to its last step before it completely collapses. And who wouldn't want to see it, Bard? So sign up, give me about $10 a month, and it will be slow but steady. And I guarantee you, I have the tools. I just need another one. I'm capable of it. And Ethan, of course, I forgot it. Marco, of course. See, I remember. I forgot you. All right. Take care. See you soon. Ending credits coming right out. Ciao.